Test. Oh, say something real fast.
Hello, something. Check, check, check. Hello,
Okay, we're
hello.
going. We're gonna go right back in because the YouTube can hear us. Now they can. Just that. Oh, okay. Apologies for because I do see that there are some people already in the YouTube. Good evening. We'll do this. We'll try once again. Good evening and welcome to another exciting professional episode of Goth Yearbook. It is I, your host, as always, Eric, aka the Eric Wynn, and with me, as always. All right, I can do this properly now, Caitlin. With me, as always, is the hostess with the mostest, Caitlin, aka the Caitlin D. Caitlin, by the way, who's going to say some stuff. I'm just going to say this real quickly.
Oh,
Has been
I have to
telling
say it all
me
again.
for a month now how they don't journal, they only do dream journals and all this stuff. But all I can think about in the last month is how pretty much for every day for the last 2 years, I've received notification after notification of things that you eat, the people that you've gone on dates with, the books you've read. So I kind of feel like our Instagram DM conversation is actually one giant journaling situation for yourself. So really, you have been journaling for the last 2 years. It's just all being directed at me. And hi, hello, welcome to
Damn,
the show.
I feel like you just opened. That was a cold open. Um,
I had to do so. I had to bring
because
some
you were
heat.
like, oh yeah, it's a journal for us. Because we both know you're just sitting at work, like pulling your fucking hair out. And I'm like sending you a picture of the menu at a restaurant I'm about to eat at, and like
You're like, it's always you're a little like mocked, like offended, like, can you believe this waffles? And I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
Like a picture of something weird at a store, and half the time I know you're not looking at it because you like this happened actually this week. I've been trying to decide how to respond to this, but I had sent you several memes at a time when apparently you were very busy with work, and I had sent you like 25 memes in a row from like 7 p.m. the night before to like 11 a.m. the next morning. And I was like, if I don't get a response on these memes by noon, like Eric might be dead. Like,
Yeah,
he might be in trouble.
We're gonna have someone just hopping in here, by the way, so don't be afraid, don't be scared when you see someone just all of a sudden pop through. That would be funny if you did call the cops and they like busted down my place, my office. Like they shoot the glass front window and they just come storming in, and it's just
no, someone propels into the glass.
And it's like we gotta. You didn't respond to a kappa. What is that animal called?
Man,
capybaras or whatever the fuck. What's that thing called?
The most incoherent opening ever, and literally the one we just did where the audio failed. I just had this like beautiful off the cuff monologue about the beauty of journaling and being in the moment, and then this one Eric just starts the show with like, you care a lot more about our relationship than I do, and I'm tired of being your journal.
No, it's an honor, really.
Okay, I need to get it together because this
it's all good.
Can I briefly say what I said before, which is just that I don't personally have much material left from high school because I threw most of that away. However, I have always been an avid journaler, and I think, this was so much more eloquent in the first date. Basically, I guess journaling is just like a good practice, sometimes only when you're in the moment.
Right. Yes.
And then when you read back on it, you're like, man, if anyone ever reads this, I will burn their eyes out of their head with acid, like personally.
I'm honestly, there's a lot of stuff. Hey, I'm gonna get real with some of mine, but there is some stuff where I was like, I'm not gonna share that. I'm just gonna keep it real.
Yeah, no, you have to draw some boundaries, and we all have those moments. I don't know. We'll see where the night takes us and how dark we get. I remember some off the cuff. Most of these journals that I have beautifully displayed behind me. I just pulled like this one down, for example.
Right.
This is from 3 years ago, and I was saying there's just not much. My whole life has changed in some ways, but a lot of according to this, because there's like no I've been telling you where I eat lunch and stuff, except for the one entry that was like, hey, I think I might not go to France because of coronavirus. And it was like March 5th, 2020. But anyway, I'm ready to get into it. I always love these episodes and hearing what other people in our group of Goth Yearbookers, what you all were up to. And I tried something, it didn't work.
It's all good. Since we started off on such a weird foot, let's play one of the voicemails. Let's shake it out with the voicemail.
Let's start with the voicemail.
Yeah.
Let someone else talk.
The diary from July 7th of 2003. What started out as a normal day turned out to be anything but normal. At about 7 a.m. in the morning, I woke up from a short night of sleep. I had $2 in my pocket, and my mom gave me 3 more. I was off to summer school. I tried to cop some cigarettes, but no luck. Chow was all out. Anyway, I went to first block. Spanish sucked. Everyone is 17 and stupid except for me, the 14-year-old freak who knows more Spanish than all of them put together. So then my second block comes around, Algebra 1. Things are much easier the second time around. After getting kicked out of McNair, my high school, I had the rude awakening that the average Jersey City kids are just too stupid to be around. Then I bought some crack from this black dude. So I went to Ash's with Chow and with the crack and told her about it. And we had her mom buy us some pot that Chow paid for. Ash got one for herself for her concert tomorrow, Summer Sanctuarium. That moment, Chow went to the store and bought a blunt, and I rolled a nice fat blunt laced with crack. Then I gave Ice her wake-up call. Hello, who wants to smoke some crack? So we went to the park across the street from her house and smoked it. Then we did a hit and run in her pool. We all ran from the park in the scorching heat and got undressed, jumped in her pool, and made it out of there before her mom came home because we were high as fuck. Then we went back to the park, I think. Iceland had a identified mark on her neck. Was it a hickey? No way. Yes way. Turns out it was from Jason, and they've been lying to my face. And I take that seriously. I go out of my way to let people know that when they lie to my face, it's wrong. So now Ice and Jason are both cut off from my life because Jason was telling everyone that he's in love with me and was going to kill himself for me. And he tells this all to her. He says that no matter who I am with, I still think of Jen. And then he makes the moves on her, and they've been lying to me about it. I don't care. I have no feelings for him. Just, I don't like being lied to by my friends. Well, they're both cut off. I'm done bitching. Hee hee, I did crack. I'm 14. I don't give a fuck.
Wow. A lot to unpack.
See,
I don't know if that was the voicemail for us to decompress to. We're like, let's put on something to like ease ourselves into the evening. We hear.
No, I love that. I can't relate to like any of that. And I just like, I have to say, honestly, whoever this person, did the caller leave their name or is it anonymous?
Anonymous.
I have to applaud Anonymous for their extensive journaling skills because I feel like that was like, for a second, I like felt like I was having a conversation with this person. I was like, yeah, fuck Jason.
You did. You got into it for a second. You were like, yes, sis.
But wow, that went from 0 to 100 to 180. And then it apparently did a hit and run into the pool.
For those of you who are watching on the YouTube, you just saw someone come in. And for those of you who are listening at home, you won't be able to see this, but we are joined once again by the one and only Phoenix Ascani. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yes, you said it right.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. Did you hear the voicemail that we just listened to?
Yeah. I thought it would be weird to turn the video on like right during like this crack story.
14 crack story. This is like what Euphoria thinks it is, but this is like actual like real.
It's like, making mine feel really tame now. Like
Oh my God, it's so much more. When I was 14, I legitimately after school was just like doing homework and like reading Yahoo articles and wishing I had a boyfriend.
Yeah, I did not have a euphoria experience.
I mean, I was doing stuff. I wasn't like smoking crack and doing all that. But hey, no hate, because like everyone.
No.
The summer sanatorium, whatever it's called, that made me particularly laugh. That dates it. That's the tour, if I'm not mistaken. That was like the Limp Bizkit, Metallica, and Static X tour from like 2003 or something like that, where they're all. I remember the tour posters. They're all wearing straight jackets because like we're fucking crazy to be doing this.
That was like the exact kind of shit that I wished that I was doing when I was 14, but I was like nowhere even close to that.
No, yeah, that's an intense fucking evening. That was like, I wasn't doing that shit until like probably exactly 10 years later. Definitely not 14. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I never personally was doing half that shit, but even like that level of shit, I don't think I got to until I was like 28 or 29 years old.
Did she say that her friend's name was Iceland?
I couldn't. There was something about Iceland, but I got a little lost because I think I was still on the Jason thing. I was like trying to figure out those relationships.
That'd be so fucking badass if you did crack and your name was Iceland. I don't know why. I think that'd be sick.
I don't know if we did. That's just gonna isolate that audio. I'm
gonna turn my light on.
Like is like, I'm out of here.
Like I said, I just think that Anonymous, that was really good journaling, and I hope that you're still journaling on that level, because that it gives me an interesting like. I've never thought of talking to my journal like as if I was talking on the phone with a friend, you know?
Oh, you didn't? Yeah, when I actually reading mine, oh my God, it's like Doug status. I refer to my journal as journal when I say, hey, journal. It's very conversational, and I'd be like, can you believe this?
Oh, my early journal started that way. My first journal ever had a frog on the cover, and the first entry, it's like, hey, Frogbo, which was short for Frog Book.
What did you guys use? I always got those like cheap composition notebooks and like cut out stuff and made collages or put stickers on the front. I had a stack of composition notebooks.
I had all different this one right here. This one is a composition book that I did one of those. Yeah. Because my girlfriend at the time was like really into that, so she like I basically did it with her for a day. The one that like is a lot for my youth is this like fancy one from. Ooh. I know. But then the rest
I love that you guys have cool backgrounds and I'm just in bed. Yeah.
My iPad is sitting propped up on my bed right now.
You both look like you're in different parts of a prison, to be honest, because like one's just like the white wall, one's like the more like, well, she's in isolation and she.
I'm in like the European prison. Yeah. And Phoenix is in the prison in like Arizona.
I was like, if I'm reading something vulnerable, I'm going to be on my bed. Okay.
I think that's a good point.
I noticed that in all my journal entries, I treated it like a live journal. So I'd put the date, the time, and I'd put what song I was listening to.
Nice.
Ooh, I love that.
But like all the songs are like very emo of the time. Like one that's like a starting line song. And then like next to it, like I'd write lyrics like, her beauty fades.
Her beauty face.
Well, maybe we should get into some of my. Oh, actually, Phoenix, since you're here, especially since you never know. Why don't we have you do some readings, and then we'll get to mine a little bit, if you're feeling up to it.
So, as much as I would love to bless us all with like my version of those teenage antics, and by the way, I was also copying down Taking Back Sunday lyrics into those composition notebooks, and who knows what else.
Yes.
Those are in a bin somewhere at my parents' home in another state. I do plan on retrieving them at some point. But yeah, we went for something from like within the last 6 months.
That's fine, actually, because I want to. And this one's exciting. The people were excited about
because we're pals. You're gonna know more than anyone else about
probably
the context of material. So I'll say that much. Oh yeah, also we did a vote. We did a vote on my Twitter and reposted it for the subject matter, and it was heartbreak, but with anal, threesomes on Molly, and Halloween sex party. And by a landslide, heartbreak but anal won. So
my favorite.
I
Elvis
actually have
album.
one of those, but it's not a journal entry.
This is like a fun scattered where I can't decide if it's about feelings or if it's about anal. So
all right, I'm ready.
When you're inside of me, nothing else exists. I'd say I don't know how I got here, but that would be a lie. I knew from the start, at least by the second date, that this was going to be like an intense roller coaster ride, but this girl loves a good thrill. You felt new and different, warm and kind. It felt safe, except when it didn't emotionally. I think I was always certain we collided for a reason, but I didn't yet know why. I remember the why the fuck not? He's different. Different is good, as I was swiping. In some ways, it felt like a leap. The previous 2 hinge dates were mediocre men with big dicks. Had I found substance but with a big dick? Yeah. Hot Vax Summer appeared, and oh, how we embraced it. I did not anticipate the way that you would unwrap my mind and my body. Are you coming into the bedroom or am I kicking you out? You said. The rest is funny. Your aftercare improved with time. Ice cream and HGTV weren't our worst options. Something about ice cream after intensely passionate anal sex is so fitting. I always feel like a good girl who earned it after all. How much more vulnerable can I be, though? Tell you everything, almost. We talk about everything, almost. Give you every hole. I knew exactly what mess I'm in. We have some of the best sexual chemistry I've ever experienced, and we're both so present in it. I never knew, this is so funny. I never knew I'd even be into anal this much. I mean, I always had liked it, but both in and out of porn, but never like this. I need it. I crave it from him. When he tells me he loves me and comes in my ass, it's somehow the most romantic thing. Well, it's up there. Someday soon, this will be over, and I hope we'll be friends, able to have coffee, share stories, celebrate life's victories, discuss cinema and creativity. I'd miss the witty banter too much. We'll catch up and not blink about the fact we've tongue-fucked each other's asses, fucked in the middle of sex parties, had an uncertain number of threesomes, embraced the healing powers of sodomy, and fell in love during an absolutely strange time in our lives. Sure, sometimes knowing how temporary it all is hurts, but accepting we aren't meant gives me peace. I sat in your lap and said, feelings don't have to mean forever. Do you want to go to my room and make love now? Yeah.
Wow. God, everyone's so much better at journaling than I am.
Yeah, you that was recent, man. That is like very beautiful prose. You actually treat it like as a art form, I would say.
Stop.
Yeah, for
Thank
real
you.
though, in a way. I mean,
well, it's like, I don't know how to not like, well, yeah. Although I will say there's a lot of shorthand stuff that happens too, because sometimes I don't get to actually sit and do all of that, but I need to put like, feeling like, and it just ends up with these like chunks of words. And then sometimes that gets elaborated on later.
I was thinking that could have been from Aleister Crowley's journal when he was a teenager.
I like to picture
that
him
man
like on
loved
his bed,
anal.
like because
he's like, yes, the healing powers of sodomy, indeed. Yeah, no, we support anal on this show. We're anal positive.
I wore my dream sweatshirt to
oh, nice.
The mood. I had it made on Etsy, actually.
I'm also,
it's
go on.
Go ahead.
I'm just sitting here like I'm like gobsmacked because I'm like I forget because I knew, and that's why I reached out, because I knew you're like a good writer and that you, but I was like fuck, like as you're doing it I'm like looking at the stuff that I'm gonna read. I'm like, because I even have a recent one. I'm gonna read it real quickly. It just goes.
Okay.
This is from 2015, so like that's recent. But I have been jerking off too much lately, And I stopped running completely. I've been dishonest to people about how much I've been going to the gym lately. That's it. That's like one day's journal.
I love that. I have ones like that too that are just like really short, and it's just like,
Yeah.
fuck?
That was a rough day. That was, oh my God, that was almost, it was February 10th. So it was like and I still, oh my God, I guess I still did the music even up to then. I don't anymore, but I was listening to Cat Power that night.
I like that you put the music. That's a good idea. I put, now most of my journaling is on my phone, because I have like a very, as everyone probably knows who listens to the show, extensive dream journal on my phone.
Yes.
And I include a tarot card, but music is a good idea because that definitely like, it helps your memory too. Then when you put the music on, and then more memories come back to you.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about
I've jotted the music down a couple times before, but I want to kind of get more consistent with that. I really like that.
But to briefly comment on your essay on anal and love.
It really is like an essay.
No, I loved it. But I've actually, something that's been like, I've been discussing with various girlfriends lately. I am finding myself in a set of women that are like in our 30s or late 20s or whatever, and like not in serious relationships, and just sort of being like, you know, like exploring the different shades of like casual sex and casual relationships. And which isn't to say that people in relationships don't have casual sex. But like polyamorous, I mean, not like, or they're just casual about it with one another. But, and I've always been among my friends, one of the more, I guess, people that like casual sex, I think is easier for me than it is for like a lot of friends of mine can't do casual sex. Maybe not necessarily guy friends, some guy friends, but it's hard for a lot of women I know to have like sex without the emotional connection, or without then being like, I haven't heard from him. And granted, I get those feelings too, but I also feel like I can enjoy it and also be like, okay, I'm gonna feel like this afterwards, and that's not a big deal, because what I take away from this like experience, it was very cute. There was a cat coming into the picture for listeners. But what I take away from the experience,
for the listeners, that's a lie. There was no cat. I was just doing something very cute, and Caitlin had to comment on
it. God, now I'm gonna lose my train of thought. There's the cat, and it's rocking back and forth, and it's so cute.
All right, I need my emotional support.
Yeah, your emotional support.
All right,
cat pillow.
Just to get this thought out. Basically, like, not all romance is necessarily about commitment and longevity. And I think that's a concept that really I had trouble with, I would say, at a different time in my life, but now I am a lot more open to, and it makes being single a lot more enjoyable, you know? So anyway, that was what I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And what that means as far as like how to manage that energy of like, well, what are my needs? But also, can't I still have like a bite of cake? And then even though it's not my wedding cake, can I just like have some?
Fucking the wedding cake.
Exactly. Can I just put my tongue in the cake without necessarily like serving it to all my friends and family?
To piggyback off of that, like, it's a revelation I've had in my experience with, like, if you're gonna use labels, solo poly, because I feel like we cut ourselves off from the possibility of so many different types of connections, because you know, maybe we're looking with, you know, the perspective of, oh, I'm, you know, marriage minded, so I'm only looking for this. So it kind of creates this tunnel vision where you shut out all these other people and all these other types of connections. And right now I'm in a place where it's like, yeah, I do want certain things like later down the line, but I don't need everyone I have a connection with right now to like fit in all these like little, you know, oh, you must check all my boxes. You have to fit in my little, you know, thing. And instead I'm allowing myself to really like learn and reflect on what like intimacy really means to me and what like love really is to me. And it can be, you know, temporary. And I think we cross paths with people, for some sort of reason. I'm not like a super religious person, but like spiritual. And I think there's something to, to take from that. So,
Totally.
it can be just for fun. Like maybe it's just fun, casual sex stuff, but like other times it can be like, maybe you need to have some fun, casual sex in order to heal so that you can have, deeper connections again.
It is
totally. And I think, so go ahead, Eric.
I was just going to say, as I was going through my journal, because like I quite literally started from like the first one I like had when I was like in junior high. I went like just followed it and talking about like that to do, like that checklist rather. It's so funny. I mean, it's how it is for everyone. You grow up and your taste mature and like what you're looking for becomes deeper, but it's so funny because like reading through my stuff, like the evolution of it, when it's just like, I like her because she's in my math class. Like it only gets a little bit more narrowed down from there in some regards, where it's like they were in the same class as me, so I like them. And then like you see like once I hit high school, it's like, can you believe that they like the same band that I do? Journal.
What are the odds?
Yeah. It that checklist for myself back then was pretty damn broad, I'll say.
I mean, my checklist used to, I have no idea what I was gonna say, but my checklist used to just be like proximity and awareness that someone else existed, and then it's only gotten narrower from there. But I think at one point it got like, I don't know, I guess there's so much pressure in our society, at least for women, to like feel slighted if someone doesn't want to see you again after you have sex with them, like regardless of where they are in their life or like their intimacy issues or whatever they have going on. And when I finally started questioning, like, do I feel slighted, or like, do I want to see this person again, or was that just like a fun experience for me to have? And I don't want to gender it, but that is an experience that I think is a little more unique to female identifying people or whatever, because there's a lot more programming around like, God, he's an asshole, he didn't call me. And it's like, well, girl, you're busy, he's busy, like you're going separate directions. Why would he call you? Don't stop being a psycho.
World-class advice from relationship counselor Caitlin D. If you're just joining us on the show this evening,
email his dad. That'll get his attention.
Girl, I'll tell you the truth. Just email that dad.
Everyone's just so afraid of like both being rejected and doing the rejecting. I mean, it's not fun being on either end, but people need to learn how to communicate more like clearly. And it's something I've been working on like a lot. Like when you have, when you have to let someone down easy, it's like, who wants to do that? Like no one wants to do that.
Right.
Or be graciously accept that like that person doesn't see a future with you, and it's like, well, okay, I could literally imagine my future with like a broomstick wearing a top hat. So like, I can't.
It's a great future.
Both
honestly.
people have to have some grace and dignity in it. But,
right. Caitlin, I imagined your taste as a kid being like a little bit more advanced. I don't know. I picture you because of like your Leo love. I just picture you being like, well, he has to be willing to drink poison from the apothecary if he finds me dead. And
I did put guys through hell for sure. Like once I knew it didn't matter who they were, but once I knew that they liked me, then the torture would begin.
All right, should I read some of my like really cringy old ones? I posted a cheesy one online, but
how many more voicemails do we have?
I think we have 2 more, but we'll space them out.
Okay.
Yeah, we have actually someone who's supposed to be calling in and leaving some way, and you'll hear the ringing, and I might just bring him right in to talk to us real quickly from the hotline itself. But I will say this is and I left the bands in, but this is a real deal. Most of this stuff, this journal here is like from the year 2000, the year 2001. But this was like when I first started getting into music. And I go on for 3 pages talking about a girl named Anna that I was really into. And then I wrote down this part, which was, it it was during this time, I'm talking about my spring break like 2 weeks before. It was during this time that I started listening to a lot of music. It was it was brought on by my family being out of town 2 weeks ago for spring break. I did the ultimate thing I'm not supposed to do, and I went into my sister Mari's bedroom and went through her stuff. Mari, I know you've been listening to new episodes, so I apologize. I found the CD by this band called Dashboard Confessional, and the CD, yeah, this is real shit, and the CD by this band called Saves the Day. I listened to both of them once, and I am now hooked. This was just 2 weeks before, and I'm like talking about it as if it's like this like mythical thing. And then I say to my journal, okay, I'm tired. I need to go to bed now, journal. I actually wrote that. And then I wrote good night, and then I wrote X more X to X come X.
Oh no! I'm just imagining you kissing your journal. More to just like.
I guess it was like a straight edge sort of thing or something. That was like X more X to X come X. And I did it at 1:22 a.m. Oh, and I forgot to say what I was listening to. It was a Copeland. Oh, no, it was not Copeland. It's the next one. It was a Death Cab song called "Bend to Squares." Bend to Squares off their first album, something about airplanes. Yeah, I still remember. It's so funny. Most of the stuff I was reading, I don't remember at all, but I do remember my sister Mari. Sorry, Mari, who's older. She had a very pristine room, probably like one you're not supposed to go through, certainly as the little brother, and I did. And I remember it was that fucking CD. It was that one with Hands Down on it. It was the EP, like the Baby Blue, Powder Blue one, where it's like the 4 songs that like are the evolution of a crush. Like it's like their first date and it leads up to like the first time they fuck or something like that. And I remember listening to that EP, having this crush on this girl and being like, vibes, like me. I get it.
It's me. This song's written for me. More to come.
This is the one that I just posted on Instagram a few moments ago, but I wrote this was like about a year later. Once I'd started high school, I was like a freshman, and things had soured with the girl that I was into, and I was obviously in a real funk about it. And I say, it's hard to even just think about it. And for some reason, my life is just always this way. I'm not even excited about the Warped Tour. I don't even know why I have a cell phone. It never rings.
Dude.
Which is like, I feel like people still make memes about shit like that, to be honest. I feel like this was like the original like sad girl meme right here.
Yeah.
And then I wrote this part, man, I was very dramatic. Like, I guess I was more goth than I realized, but I ended this section saying, I've had horrible nightmares, the kind where you're hanging with all your friends and you wake up and they all leave you, which I guess waking up in the dream. And every single one of my journal entries, I always like say like good night or bye journal. On this one, all I wrote was done. And then a month later, I wrote, what a depressing last entry. Well, life is better. I
love that your like worst nightmare. I have had terrible nightmares since I was a kid, and like they were always kind of like very bloody and like just nasty. And I love that you're like the kind where you're hanging out with your friends and they leave you. I mean, that sucks though.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel it.
That's a major bummer.
It is.
Yeah.
I wrote, I kind of skipped ahead, but like a year later, I was obviously very into Ryan Adams at the time because I wrote, oh, I'm like red in the face right now. You can't see it on the black and white.
That's what you put on the black and white filter.
Ryan Adams.
I'm suddenly wishing
I wrote, Ryan Adams is a genius. And then I wrote, all country rocks. And I said, I actually like Garth Brooks too. And that was a whole journal entry. So
Wait, you didn't put that one like done. Goodbye.
that one said that was a good goodbye one.
When I was
Wait.
Sorry.
When I was flipping through looking for the right one, I found one sign off that was like, well, the water's boiling. So I'll leave this here.
I would write things like that. I found like a bunch of things like that. On one of them, I literally wrote, oh, my mom is like calling me. I gotta do chores now, which is like the most cliche thing you could. That's like something that would be from an episode. Doug, like, I gotta go, journal. I gotta go do chores.
Well, that was so was that the year later one? Was that the next one in the journal?
No. I'm kind of skipping ahead because like a lot of it is me literally writing.
I would love if you had ended like more to come, and then a year later you're like, well, that was depressing. Like,
there are some where like it's a year later and I was like, boy, I can't believe it'll be like pages of me being like, this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. I will never think about like another woman ever again. I have found my person. And then you see like 6 months pass. I'm like, who? Her? I'm like, I'm all about Sam now.
Yeah.
The quick like turnover rate of the teenager.
I like often won't even use names in my journals now. I'll use like code names for the people that I'm.
That's why I'm trying to be like careful about what I say here, but
it's less triggering for myself later when I don't read it. And also it just like, it's funny because sometimes I'll write something about someone and then I'll think I'm dating someone totally different and I'll look back and I'll be like, oh, this was the same person underneath very many layers.
This is like a perfect example of like how I used to, oh man, I feel so bad for these girls. Just like the instant, like putting them on a pedestal and just like worshiping like every aspect of them. But it's like also that cutesy, like early teenage shit. But I wrote, one fateful night recently, of course, as all good things do, something happened at a show. I met officially Becca Clark. She is a sophomore cheerleader at my school written with a K. And I had talked to her before, but nothing fancy. But that night, I talked to her more. And guess what? She's into hardcore.
This time it was fancy.
Nothing fancy.
Guess what? Guess what? I like that. I do like an actual guess what to my journal.
Guess what? You never knew. What is it?
Guess what journal? She asked me to Sadie Hawkins. Rally. Hell yeah. I honestly do not remember that at all.
Hey, good for you. Becca Clark sounds hot.
Should she listen to Bane? Like
you know what's funny? No, I think even though I was listening to Bane back then, I have to imagine it was like Christian hardcore, like metalcore of that era.
She was going to Norma Jean shows and you were like, this is
exactly.
It's close enough. She's a cheerleader. I have no idea that a cheerleader could listen to anything heavy.
I was like, I want to like tie our New Balances together and walk in step for life or some shit. This part though, I hate myself. Usually like I would oversay everything, but I kept this part vague and I have no idea what it references, but I said, this is like a week later and I'm talking about like how things have been going good. And I say, I have to admit, though, something kind of bad happened. There was and I put in quotes, dancing incident. I don't even want to discuss it. But I know most likely I will eventually discuss it. But for now, I really don't feel like writing it. And I never mention it or her again.
Oh, no. What happened?
Yeah. I don't know. Her and I became good friends, actually. I'll say this.
You have to ask her.
I haven't actually talked to her in like years, but her and I were friendly for a long time, and she's actually one of the most infamous things about me from my high school that most people who I went to high school with, they still bring it up if they see me or like reach out to me, is the time that I swallowed a sewing needle. And it was at her house, actually.
I hate the story.
Yeah, I was at her house because she was she had taken like we called it On Your Own, and it was like the home ec class, and she was helping me with my final on it, which was to sew a blanket. It was like the big final, and I had the sewing needle between my lips, like as I was like doing something real quickly, and like I breathed in, and all of a sudden I looked down and was like, "Where's the needle?" And we couldn't find it anywhere, and she was flipping out, and of course, like typical young teen guys, like, it's all good. Like, I don't know what, because she somehow just knew, because she was like, where was it? I was like, between my lips, and she's like, and you can't find it. And I was like, no. And she's like, I bet you swallowed it. And I was like, I would be dead right now. And I didn't tell anyone for 24 hours. And she
Oh my
called my
God.
mom, and she was like, no, like, your son is being like an idiot. Like, he definitely swallowed it.
Did it
so
not
you-
hurt?
No. So my mom, this quick story is that I got called to the office. My mom was waiting there, and she's like, we're going to the ER. And it had passed along so far that I had to, like, you know, shit it out basically. And the doctor was like, wow, you're really lucky. If it had turned even like just this or this way, like, you would probably be dead because you didn't tell anyone. You probably would have died in the middle of the night. And I was like, what? That's crazy.
It'd just be dramatic.
Which is so crazy. Man, back then, like, the bliss of just being young and dumb, because now if I like even thought for a second that I swallowed a sewing needle, I would have a panic attack unlike anything I've ever experienced. Like, I'd be flipping out. I'd be like telling them, like, rip open my fucking chest and pull it out with your fucking hand.
I feel like I'm having a panic attack just every time you tell that story.
Yeah, the visual is stressing me out so much. Like, my little brother swallowed a quarter when he was very young,
Oh, shit,
and they
that's
had to
classic.
like is that the right word? Laparoscopic.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
It got lodged. And then my dad kept it in like one of those little specimen containers as
Hell
like
yeah.
this, you know, the most expensive quarter of because of all the medical bills. And my like 10-year-old ass was like, I'm gonna use this quarter for a Snickers. Like, I remember my little brother throwing this quarter up in the air. Like, it was like, like you said, how
Oh,
do
no.
kids do this stupid shit? He throws it up in the air and he's like, and it goes down. It's funny.
Oh, fuck.
How old was he at the time, did you say?
I want to say we were like, he's 4 years younger than me. So we were either like 6 and 10 or 8 and 12. It was like something like that. Like, we were both young and dumb.
Oh my God.
I snorted a costume pearl one time up my nose, and then they had to suck it out. And I was pretty young. I was like 4 or 5. And apparently I like really liked it, or I really liked the attention or something. And so I stuck a piece of bread up my nose the next week.
Hot.
Hell yeah. Did you drown
I'm
up
going to
it?
try that next time during
I
anal.
sort of just stick a whole loaf up there.
Yeah. A baguette.
I like to have sourdough before sodomy.
I have a quick question, because we're all like more or less the same age. I was telling someone about this recently, and they're like, what? And I was like, I swear that maybe this was just something for our age group. But did you guys at your school, was there like a couple year span where people would bring like full loaves of sourdough bread from like the grocery store and like eat it for their lunch or eat it in class? Because
No.
this happened. Okay, maybe Christian schools are just fucking weirdos, which, yeah, they are. So
I mean, Panera bread bowls were popular.
no,
Like,
I remember there was this era at my school where kids would show up with like the full, you know, like the Safeway, like freshly baked loaves, and they would just like fucking munch on that shit all day long at their desk and shit.
I mean, I feel like that's sort of just a human. Sometimes like mom just grabs a baguette and gives it to the child.
Throws it out the like as they're walking away. Like, I'll just like wrap up my early ones real quickly, but this one, this was like my first like this girl in high school who like I was kind of like with on and off for a long time, and this was someone who I really liked. And I'm gonna say this: I said "Oh my God," but I wrote it out as OMG in my journal, shorthand. I was lazy even back then. Oh my God! And this is like later in high school. This isn't like freshman. This is like senior maybe. Oh my God! As I write this, it's as if I've had an epiphany. I knew I liked her, but now I realized I like her.
Whoa.
And I
Deep.
wrote this poem like thing for her that said, "She's like the ocean and I'm the setting sun. I'm completely enveloped by her. I'm so taken by her." And I drew
That's
a
so
little
sweet.
sunset.
Oh my
Um,
God.
And then I made this list. I'm not even gonna go through it because it's like a little too like revealing of who the person is. Not that it really matters, but things. These two made me laugh. Things that remind me of her: the Olsen twins and her sidekick too. Which, if y'all remember, that was the infamous phone.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was like the pre-smartphone smartphone. Anywho, one last thing I want to read from my personal stash.
Those are all the things that remind you of her.
No, there was a long list, but I don't want to get into like the other specifics
okay.
that were kind of like a little too
Got
personal.
it.
Throughout my entire life before I got clean sober, whenever I was fucked up on drugs or I'd gotten really drunk, I would keep adding to this list of possible sitcoms, TV shows. And this was like started all the way back in high school and went through all the way until I was like 20 something. And so I'm going to quickly read the list of them. There was My Three Dads. This is the sequel to My Two Dads. There's My Free Dads, which would be about a girl who found free dads on the side of the freeway. My Three Daddies, a girl who has a sexual awakening. Ben Stiller gets a clue. Ben Stiller keeps receiving the board game Clue as a Christmas gift. Funky Town, which would be a televised colonoscopy.
Wait, just briefly to clarify, these are like sitcom ideas that you had?
These are all television shows ideas I had that I would write down in one specific journal that was literally just one for TV shows. Ideas.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. No worries. Problem Child. Bastard children are forced to pull weeds for 12 hours while filmed in real time. Only in Kansas. A show that's not actually set in Kansas, but people constantly say in the show it only can happen in Kansas. Bon Iver or Boney Bear. Dudes with handlebar mustaches jerk each other off competitively. Wish You Were Here. Lighthearted sitcom about 20-something slackers who have too much time on their hands and way too many dead relatives. That 40s Show. World War II vets return home unable to function in society. Prince Has a Riddle, a music icon show, a show about music icon Prince, where he has a series of questions and riddles that he gives contestants that they must solve or they will suffer some seriously sexy consequences. The OC, which is set in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City residents provide insight into America's favorite city. And finally, Michael Jordan Cheats Death. Contestants hunt the Chicago Bulls legend in a savage display of power. So if you're listening out there, Hollywood, please... reach out to me because I have a lot of great ideas.
All right. Voicemail.
Wait, before we get to voicemail, how about you read? I did email you something that someone had sent in.
Oh, you want the emailed one?
Yeah, let's do the emailed one first.
Okay, give me a second to queue it up.
So while you're doing that, I will play a voicemail. We have another voicemail here. Let's get this one rolling.
Good evening, my name's Jason Statham. I heard you were looking for journal entries. I wanted to submit one of my own. Berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little lad who likes berries and cream. Nothing, honey.
Wow. Celebrity megastar Jason Statham writing into the show. Looks like our show's getting a little bit more popular than people realize. If you enjoy this episode, by the way, please, this will be available for free, but we do have some cool content just like this one and many other great things like the history of MTV, the history of Mary Shelley, Edgar Allan Poe, a lot of other fun stuff, including a bonus episode that Shamir appeared on a few months ago, all on our Patreon, patreon.com/Goth Yearbook After Hours. Caitlin, do you got that story revved up, ready to go?
Loved the berries and cream call. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Jason.
And yeah, thanks, Jason. All right, so diary. This is all I see. It just says blank as the title, and then the second title is diary : funeral shopping. I don't have a date, so here we go. And this is from a caller. This is not my personal one. Or not a caller, whatever, an emailer. Okay. 8th contributor. My grandma.
If you just joined us, emailer has sent in an email, and Caitlin will be reading it. Wait, Caitlin,
So
who sent this in? Was it a caller?
Shut up. I can't. I have to stop laughing before I read this first line, but I can't because it's
first line.
my grandmother died and my mom took me.
Is this you or the emailer? I honestly don't know
This
where
is the
you
emailer.
began and the other ends.
I can't keep it together today. Okay, my grandmother died, and my mom took me into Boston to go shopping, telling me pick out a dress for the funeral. I'm so sorry I'm ruining this.
You need to reset, dude.
Yeah.
Hard reset. Take.
Okay.
Okay, my grandmother died, and my mom took me to Boston to go shopping. Fun, how you doing? I'm sorry, this is so unprofessional.
I feel like I need to mute my mic.
My grandmother my grandmother died and took me, we know that part. Pick out a dress for the funeral. Her grandma died. We are in her favorite tasteful children's store. I am determined to find something that is neither tasteful nor childish. My sisters' and brothers' outfits are already at the counter, selected by my mother in under 2 minutes. I never get to choose anything for myself, so I am holding out for something that meets my style requirements for funereal attire. They spelled it right. Funereal attire. I have worn my mother down. She is prepared to allow me to get whatever I want as it is purchased within the next minute or so. I venture into the minuscule preteen department, whose sizes I have yet to grow into, where the mood is less preppy and more British invasion. Immediately, I spot the perfect thing to pay tribute to my grandmother, elegant to her final moment, a white vinyl micro mini skirt. The skirt is several sizes too big for a scrawny 11-year-old and is meant to rest on the hips that I have not yet developed. It comes with a flowing polka dot shirt, also way too big. We have come straight from my ballet class, and as I slip this outfit on over my pink leotard, my illusion of looking exactly like Cher is decimated by my mirror image. If they happen to need a clown at the funeral, I will be available. Yikes. Just as I'm about to tell my mother I will take her original suggestion of the navy blue dress with the white Peter Pan collar, she distractedly points in my direction and tells the blue-haired saleswoman, "We'll take it, put it on my charge account." She says, "You wait here while they wrap everything. I will be downstairs in the car having a cigarette." The end.
Wow. Shouts out friend of the show, Robin, who sent that one in.
Thank you, Robin. I'm sorry I had it entirely
I imagine that they
down.
would enjoy that.
Okay.
But it was funny. They were like, "My grandmother died." No, my grandmother died. You're like, no,
I'm
seriously.
so sorry.
What if this was like written like yesterday?
Really unhinged today.
I also yes.
I just love the visual image. First of all, like, I don't know if it was their maternal grandmother, but the idea of like, just it can show how like mindlessly cruel you can be when you're that age. And I absolutely am guilty of this, but like you're possibly mom's mom just died. And you're like, I know how to ruin her day because she picked out my siblings' outfits before mine. And it's like,
yeah, that is pretty fucking hardcore. Do you guys remember what were you gonna say?
I like the idea of wearing a white vinyl mini skirt to like your grandmother's funeral.
Did you have any memories of like being forced to wear something that you were just like absolutely dreading for a family function, whether it be wedding or funeral or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
My mom I had straight hair and my mom had naturally curly hair, although she permed it, and she was always trying to curl my bangs under, you know. Generationally, this was like a look in all these curls, and then anything poofy. Like, you know, the sweaters with like I mean, looking back, some of them are cool, but as a kid, I hated this. And I think I was just very particular about like sensations and stuff. And I didn't like my hair being all poofy on my head and like the heat of the iron. And I didn't like the poofy, whatever. I don't know what to call those sweaters. Like,
you don't like those ones from like the 70s?
Like of the 80s, colorful.
Yeah.
Pom-pom situation.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know what the name is either. It all sounds very 80s.
About all kinds of stuff like that.
I was never forced to wear that I remember anything. In fact, I think my mom let a few things really slip. But like, I'm like, I don't know if you should have been letting your child wear that. I remember I went to a dance one time in high school that wearing like a crop top that said I heart 69
Oh,
because I was like,
hell yeah.
and I was like Baby Spice for the dance. And like I knew what 69 was, but for some reason I just didn't care, you know? It was
Didn't
like
see
a
it as an
small
issue.
school.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's like you just didn't see it as an issue. Like, oh, well, this is just my costume. Like,
Yeah, but I didn't see it as like, I'm like 15-year-old girl. There's like male chaperone teachers all around. Like just the shit that I think about now, you know, as an adult, but whatever.
I have a series someone sent in because one of the things I offered up was people could put up like their Facebook statuses and things like that. And I don't know if they want to be anonymous or not, so I'll let her be anonymous. But this gal sent in a series of Facebook, what do they call it? Statuses. They all
Nice.
I'm gonna read all of them to you guys. They're just like kind of in a series. Am I wrong to bring potato chips to the bathroom while I shower? I'll be sleeping with the potato chips bag again. There's like several. They're like no, they're all spaced out too. I was reaching for the remote control, but came up with a potato chip bag instead. Woke up like this, and it's a picture of a half-empty Lay's potato chip bag in their bed. I'm for real. Doing the regretful things and sleeping well, and it's a picture of a Lay's classic bag. It's like a very nice like picture found online. Please don't be alarmed when you hop into a bed of potato chips. I was lonely, hee hee. And then just 2 years ago, I'm double fisting it. Lay's classic and Lay's barbecue chips.
sounds like Lay's is their most committed relationship.
Yeah.
I know. It sounds like when you're like reading back on someone who's like in a true crime series and you're looking back on their own Facebook statuses because it has the energy of someone who's escalating like a unhealthy obsession, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree.
But then it's like, but where do you go from like where is the edge? Where's the boundary line with sleeping with the bags of potato chips? And I guess they're already getting into the territory where they're adding more bags of chips.
Well, if the bags end up murdered, you know who did it.
Yeah.
That's it, true. Oh man, back in my day when I used to get kind of rowdy and shit like that, there were several times that I would wake up and there would be like late night, like it was like, oh, I have to go to Taco Bell. This is like the most important thing that will ever happen to me in my life is getting Taco Bell at 4 a.m. and then I wake up and it's like one bite out of like a bean burrito. Like I didn't even like make it past that before passing out, and you just see like the burrito almost like near my mouth, so it's like I'm like munching on a cigar or something like that.
I've been on both sides of the delivered Postmates that go to the drunk person who like didn't make it to the point of delivery. I've been both the person that like ordered the Jack in the Box that then got 27 missed calls from a Postmate and a bag of cold Jack in the Box on my doorstep in the morning. And I've also been a Postmates driver trying to get into like an apartment building with someone's fucking Del Taco.
This one, I'm trying to pull up. Actually, Caitlin, I sent you a couple others as well.
All
If
right.
you want to get this pulled up. I'm going to play one real quickly. You got them ready to go?
I do.
Okay. I'll let you go.
All right. This one is February 13th, but it doesn't say what day.
Oh, shit.
I mean, what year? I'm sorry. Dear Mom, okay, this is hard for me, but I think you should know how I feel. So here you go. You probably think I'm too young to wear one, but I think just the opposite. Most of the girls in the 5 or 4th grade wear a bra, flat or not. Well, maybe 75% out of 100%. Even, thank you for clarifying, it's out of 100%. Even Emily and Emma. And when Emma is flatter than me, it's embarrassing. Don't say anything, underlined all caps. Just write a letter to me and put it on my dresser by Feb 18th. In your letter, just write a date when we can go shopping. Please don't tell. Thank you. I
That
love
was great.
just the brazenness of like openly threatening your mother in a note.
What you're gonna fucking
You're
do
13.
right now is you're gonna take this note. You're going to get me a fucking bra. You will put the note back. You will not look me in the eye. It's like all very like,
That's
whoa.
perfect. My babysitter back then was like the first person to give me like a Venus or whatever razor because I asked my mom if I could shave my legs and she was like, you don't need to yet. And the babysitter like helped me learn, like put on makeup on me for the first time, and then I finally convinced my mom to like let me do that kind of stuff. So I was just like really resonating with this, like, look, mom, not a girl, not yet a woman.
like this is embarrassing. I'm not going to talk about it, but I will vaguely threaten you, and this will happen by this date. Make the delivery.
Make the delivery. Make the drop.
Make the drop right fucking now. That same person sent one other one, and I think I sent it to you. It's the same girl.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pierce, who said that she did not mind being not anonymous. I live for that story. I think that that's one of the all-time greats.
Which one?
That one you just read. I think it's just so perfect
okay.
for the topic at hand.
All right, so here's the next one. Okay, first, ... How could I have ever liked Cole? 3 question marks. All caps. Of all people! Exclamation point. He is cute, but annoying and kind of mean. And Rob, Lerner, maybe we don't just say their name anyway. And Rob, my gosh, what was I thinking? I slapped him and now we are friends. LOL. Oh my God, I literally, did I send this to you? Because this is very similar to something I went through. I go out with Rob Duma. What a hottie. Oh no, different Rob. This is not me. Confirmed. What a hottie. We Frenched and made out. I also Frenched Brian, but forget him. Pierce loves Rob Duma forever. So I'm guessing, yeah. I hope that worked out.
Him.
Yeah, hey. Hopefully Pierce and Rob are still together. Hopefully that was a love everlasting.
I literally had this guy who I'm actually still friends with when I was growing up, who was like, we were like besties, but then he would like me and I would like him, and we dated in 7th grade. And in 1st grade, he kissed me on the playground and I slapped him and I got time out and he didn't.
Oh,
rape culture.
Yeah,
people.
no fucking shit.
Okay, sorry.
No worries.
It's ruined. But most of my like preteen to like teen, honestly, probably up through like now, most of my journals are just lists of boys that I want to make out with and then get mad at.
This is someone had sent this in. This is from January 1987. Today, I finally worked out what my New Year's resolution is going to be. It is to eat and keep healthy by eating all the right foods. I like that. To eat, to keep healthy, and to eat the right foods. And exercising every day. And there's a little footnote. I know I can't spell exercising, but I don't care. I started by doing 10 minutes of strenuous leg exercises. And then below that says, my list of 1987. And you think to yourself, well, what list is this? Number 4, Patrick Swayze. Number 3, Rob Lowe. Number 2, Emilio Estevez. And number 1, Scott Baio. Hey. I am madly in love with Scott Baio. They write it as S. Baio, in fact. Totally. It says totally blessed. I feel like that was like a precursor to people saying blessed. And then 4 hearts.
Wow.
Scott Baio. You were blessed just to be in an imaginary relationship. That's goals.
Okay. So the voicemail thing is not working for us for some reason. It's kept loading and now it won't pull up. Yeah. So I'm going to hope that it does, but I'm going to read, I have one more first that was sent in. And this one is very short, but I love it. It just says, we both smelled skunks at the same time at 4:30 a.m. One was just walking up and one was about to go to bed. And that's all it says. And for some reason, I just love that.
Yeah, I have so many questions.
I know that sometimes it's like the best ones are the ones where you go, because that's how many, there are so many of mine where I would just find these random ones where I'd be like, I just came back from the pool and I was like, we didn't have a pool. What pool? I don't remember ever going to a pool in high school.
That's what I'm saying is like, I'm always so impressed when people, and maybe I should just stop talking to you, Eric, because to your point, maybe I'm wasting all my journal entries just talking to someone who doesn't read the transcripts. I never even finished. This is literally a story I didn't finish from the top of the show.
Yeah, do it.
That I had sent you all these memes, and literally a week later, you sent me one of the memes that I had sent you in that group. And I was like, I'm gonna kill him.
To be fair, yes, when I'm at work and it's a little busy, it's a lot of memes. I don't know why it sounds so Italian. It's a lot of memes.
It's a lot of memes. But I've been deciding what to do in retribution since then. I just decided that for every meme of mine that you ignore, which so far the evidence is only up to 1, but if it becomes a trend, you'll know, because I'm just going to start ignoring something that you say to me, and it's just going to be one thing, but it's going to be important.
I did actually, now that I think about it, I did bring up a potential show idea. Oh, were you already putting in effect today when I brought up that
Maybe
Twitter thing? And I was like, what about this? And you just said, what? And then we never discussed it again.
No, I made a joke, I made some joke. I forget what the joke was, but it's what you do to me when I bring up like an emotional issue I'm struggling with, which honestly I'm fine with, because if I'm being honest, it is more like my diary where I just dump my emotions. Phoenix is now stuck in
like our group therapy of like co-hosting. No, say it.
I was just gonna say it's kind of accurate that like our test or whatever, that thread is basically my journal, and instead of telling you what I'm doing, I should just put it in an actual journal. So that's all, because otherwise I'm not gonna remember what I was doing.
You were about to reveal too how sometimes you'll say something like really fucked up or heartbreaking that you're going through.
I'll be like, oh, this love interest I really wanted to work out. I saw so much potential. I really opened myself up, and I'm just feeling completely crushed because he ghosted me. And Eric will be like, hee hee. And then send me a picture of Murph. And I'm like, that's totally fine. Honestly, I don't really want to talk about it.
He broke your what?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good inside joke for no one. Anywho. I apologize. The hotline is not seeming to work for us at the moment. And I think that Rachel did send some in. So the next time we do a mailbag, I'll find a way to play them on the Instagram or something like that. But they'll be redeemed one way or another. But we are kind of hitting that point where we need to kind of say our goodbyes. I forgot there's one other one I wanted to bring up. I was going through my journal that I had specifically when I was at rehab. And that shit was like way too dark. I was like, oh, we should not be talking about that after all. But there was one entry where I just wrote down I was in rehab in the month of December, and I wrote, oh shit, I just realized I've been writing October this whole time. Maybe I'm still drunk? ? Which is pretty funny.
I definitely will find entries like that where, because actually the page that I just like opened this journal to earlier, I just looked at it and it says May 13th ? In parentheses. And this is from 2020. This isn't like, there's no reason I can't quickly confirm the date.
That makes sense, because that was like deep. Well, it wasn't deep,
that was when it was.
That was when every day was the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that was partially like your emotion too, was like, what day is it even? You know?
Yeah.
And that's when we were like recording every single night. Like it really was. We were stuck in like a fucking Groundhog Day infinite loop.
And I do like to go right outside a lot of the time, so I won't have my phone with me. So I'll just be like, but it's funny just to think, because it's usually at the end of the day, just to think at the end of the day, getting there and writing the date down and being like,
right?
I don't know. Did you look at that?
Well, I think damn journal entries from people and from each other. Phoenix, I gotta say, thank you so much for coming in and
Yes,
killing it
thank
and
you
giving
so
us
much.
such a beautiful reading of a beautiful passage. I apologize that you had to then hear me quote dashboard lyrics. That's all mine for like
No,
the rest of the
I
hour.
fucking love those insights into your younger self. And I am gonna go write, or not go anywhere. I'm gonna sit exactly where I am in my bed and write in my journal now before bed. So
Awesome. Well, yeah.
write in your journals, kids. It's good for you. Or in your notes on your phone, or in text to your best friend.
There you go.
There
There it is. Anything
To your podcast co-host.
yeah. Anything you want to plug before you get going?
People can follow my social media or my OnlyFans if they feel like it. I'm on Twitter as Phoenix Ascani, PhoenixAskani, and Instagram is just it's Phoenix Ascani and phoenixascani.com.
Hell
Sweet.
yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to those of you who are hanging out in the YouTube. Thank you to everyone who submitted stuff. I apologize for the voicemail thing not working at the very end, but we'll get that tinkered out. And Caitlin, as always, thank you for being my best journal friend and the co-host with the most. I'm going to say goodnight to y'all.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Record.